Who killed Joe Dolph?
I never killed him.
A cold night in February 1993.
I've stepped onto a stoop two-step riser leading into the kitchen and viewing the inside.
The court testimony of an RCMP officer describes the scene.
A part-full case of beer bottles. There are some overturned steel-framed chairs, a number of broken cups on the kitchen floor. On the right-hand corner of the stove, there's a reddish blood-like stain. There is a further reddish blood-like stain on the countertop. There were plants on the floor in an upset condition. Northeast bedroom door, reddish blood-like stain. Viewing into the northeast bedroom door, the body of a deceased male lying face down on the carpeted floor.
A brutal crime scene. Anthony Joseph Dolph, aged 70. Murdered in his Saskatchewan farmhouse over $700.
I didn't do it. I didn't kill him.
Odelia Quewezance admits she was there in 1993 and incarcerated since. But she insists she didn't kill Dolph.
I honestly believe that I should never been charged for second degree. All these years I found it in my heart that this was too much of a long sentence, and I was just a young lady that didn't know.
Odelia Quewezance had just turned 21 in 1993. She lived here with her younger sisters, Zerlina and Narissa. Kizakus First Nation. A Saulteaux community, about 4 hours east of Saskatoon. Joe Dolph's farm was 2 miles up the hill from the reserve. It's long gone, but we met Zerlina Quewezance here in the summer of 2020.
It was a dirt road leading up to the house, and I don't know, he lived here by himself apparently. Yeah, this is where it happened, yeah. And like I said, this was the gravel road, and it was all lawn, nice, taken care of. Beyond the tree there was a greenhouse. It was a one-story house, and there was a garage attached to it. Like, it was quite a big house.
February 25th, 1993. That night is a vivid memory for her, even more than 25 years later.
Yeah, 11 o'clock, yeah. It was shortly after because we were watching TV and Academy Awards was on. He said, we're going. Somebody's going to come pick us up. And I said, don't go, you know. I feel something bad's going to happen, you know. Stay home with me. Yeah.
Zerlina stayed home, here in this house where they lived back then. Odelia and Narissa met up with their 14-year-old cousin, Jason Cashane, who lived just across the road. Zerlina didn't see her sisters again until the next morning.
And then they came to the front door, knocked, and my younger sister, Narissa, had walked in. I sat in the living room with her, and she was just crying. I said, well, what happened? And then she said, he's dead. He's freaking dead. She said, hey.
Zerlina wasn't at Dolph's. She didn't see anything. But Odelia did.
Took some pills, strong pills from my grandmother, and we drank a little bit.
After they ran out of booze, Odelia rode to town with Dolph to pick up beer.
We drove to Comstock, we picked up more beer, and he was making sexual advances towards me. And we went back to the house. I remember we were drinking. I went in the room with him, and he wanted to give me money to have, sex with him. So I was kind of nervous and feeling grossed out about it. So there was an envelope, and I seen it. I asked him to go get me some water and in that envelope. And then he came back, and I remember that I said, no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this.
She took the envelope, which had $700 in it.
So I got up, I went back into the living room, and I showed my cousin and my sister the money. And so, I don't know, we were all just being silly. And so we decided we wanted to leave.
On that drive home, Dolph discovered his envelope was missing.
Like, he stopped the car and we wanted to get out, and the one door didn't want to work, and my sister was trying to jump out. Jason wouldn't let us out.
Dolph drove them back to his house. Odelia in the front seat, Jason and Narissa in the back. According to court documents, this is when Jason told Narissa they should kill him. Odelia said after they returned to the farm, Dolph went after 19-year-old Narissa.
And then he wanted to sleep with my sister. I kind of got mad because I've been protecting my sisters all my life. And I think I finally just, I told him, leave my sister alone, not to bother her. And then that's when this all broke out and this stuff happened.
Odelia claims her memory was spotty due to the alcohol and drugs. This statement she gave in court said she hit him with an ornament and stabbed him in the back. Now, she says she only remembers pushing him. It was 14-year-old Jason that ended up alone with Dolph in his bedroom. By around 4 a.m., Joe Dolph is dead. 17 stab wounds, 2 in his heart, a TV thrown at his head, a phone cord around his neck.
What really bothered me is those all like Jason. It's not funny. It's not funny. Like he was practically pretty much his lot. Like, I don't know. It was so weird how he was acting. Still to this day, he makes like fun. Like, I talked to him, and he admitted to me that he lied a lot about stuff and how the police scared him and threatened him. Why he said he did that, and he told my sister that me and Narissa shouldn't be in prison because he's the one that killed him. And why didn't he say that back then?
So where are we off to here? We're looking for somebody, and
yeah, we'll go to look for my cousin Jason.
Coming up after the break.
Let's go right now, otherwise we're not going to be able to find him at all this afternoon. He's going to be gone.
I go looking for Jason Kashane to see what he has to say 27 years later.
At that house, they're knocking at that door. I think that might be him. See at that house? Yeah, no, just go back this way because I'm pretty sure that's him. He's a big man like that. If we lose him... Oh yeah, his van is home. And I'll just see if that's him at that house just up ahead here. But his house is that big white van up there. So I'll just get out and go and check to see if you want to go on TV. Okay.
Zerlina says Kashane wants to tell the truth now. We finally tracked him down on nearby Cody First Nation.
Okay, ready. Look, read this. No, there's no Jason. No Jason. It's, yeah. Yeah. No. But you know what, Jason? It's called double jeopardy. You can't be charged for the same crime twice. Yeah. And you were a young offender at that time.
I said about 4 o'clock, eh?
Yeah.
Okay, no worries.
Okay.
I'm John, by the way.
Okay, Jason.
Jason. All right.
Yeah, that's my cousin, Jason Kashane.
Anthony Joseph Dolph was known in the community as Joe.
And I remember he had worked at the school, Rudolph, and that's where I heard his name. He cleaned the yards, took care of that school and plumbing, whatever he had to do there.
For decades, he was the boiler engineer at this residential school, St. Philip's, right on the Kisakus First Nation in Saskatchewan. It's not here anymore. Dolph had family in the area, but they wouldn't agree to speak with us. Odelia and Odelia Quewezance came from a tight-knit but troubled family.
Bukum and Mushroom were like the center of the family, so we'd always have gatherings at their place, birthday parties, round dance. You know, or just hanging out. Jason was always with us, my cousin, and we were always together. Yeah.
Their mother deserted the family when the kids were young.
I grew up in a very dysfunctional home. My parents were alcoholics, and I never grew up with my mother. My mother left when I was very young, and my father was the one who co-parented me all my life. He was my big hero.
Odelia was sexually abused at the age of 8 by a nun at Lebret Residential School.
I had an abuser there. My abuser was a woman, was a child care worker there. And so that's where it wasn't like a good place environment for me. And as a child, you don't know what's right or wrong, because everything just seems to be happening while I was at the residential school. I got abused there, and it was just hard.
By the time she's 20 years old, the year Dolph died, Odelia is struggling with substance abuse. That's part of why she went to Dolph's farm that night.
I knew this man had alcohol, or, he sleep with young women for money. And I wish I would have told my lawyer. I tried telling, but I was, there was a lot of stuff that I wanted to say that I couldn't.
By 4 a.m., this was the scene.
Coming into view now is an overturned kitchen table, a part-full case of empty beer bottles. Viewing into the northeast bedroom door, the body of a deceased male lying face down on the carpeted floor.
According to Zerlina, Jason and the girls had 2 very different reactions to the murder the next morning.
And he was asking everybody, he's making sausages, bacon, eggs. And he's asking people, what do you want? You want scrambled eggs? You want sunny side up and all this?
The sisters were walking from Zelina's house to their grandmother's when RCMP from nearby Kamsack arrested them.
A lot of regrets that I should have made them stay home, I blame myself. Yeah. That I should have made them stay home. I always say I should have told them to made them stay home. And they would never done that. So, yeah, I admit it. I blame myself. I never told anyone that.
Odelia and Narissa were charged with second-degree murder. Both women entered pleas of not guilty. Their lawyers told RCMP they would not give statements. A justice of the peace determined they should be remanded to Pine Grove Correctional Institution for Women in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan. Instead, they were kept at the Kamsack detachment, where police obtained several statements without their lawyers present. That is something that bothers Jolene Johnson, a private investigator on their case.
Her Charter of Rights were breached. She was held, her and her sister were held in custody for 5 days. Their legal counsel told the police they didn't want to give a statement, but they browbeated them, in my opinion, and forced a statement out of them. Depending on the tactics law enforcement used back in the 90s, really depend. It's basically a forced confession. You can get a false confession out of that.
So when they're drugging, you want to film the entire body, head to toe, and keep continuing.
Johnson became involved after a tip from David Milgard, one of Canada's most famous wrongful conviction cases.
He contacted my office and said, hey, I have this case of 2 Indigenous sisters who had been convicted of second-degree murder, and that he believed that they may be innocent. We got the transcripts, and I started reviewing them, and I was absolutely mortified at what I was reading and what actually happened at this trial.
So, Johnson began to dig for free.
But what I noticed was that there was no physical evidence linking Odelia to this case, to this murder. There was contradictory evidence of who used the telephone cord in the commission of this crime. One thing that I saw was that the police had moved the body. The girls were held in cells for 5 days. But yet the remand warrant said that they were supposed to go to the Women's Correctional Center, not in the Kamsack Police Department. They defied their own remand warrant.
Both Odelia and Narissa were sentenced to life with no chance of parole for 10 years. And in part, it was their cousin, Jason Cashane's testimony that put them away. He was charged with second-degree murder and convicted as a youth.
I'm here for Jason. He's not here. Oh, he's not here? At 6? Yeah. Oh, okay. All right.
Sentenced to 5 years. He testified at Odelia and Narissa's joint trial and admitted to lying about what happened. Zerlina and I spent a day and a half tracking down Cashane.
So about Jason. So yeah, we went there yesterday. Well, you came with me and you introduced me to him. You told us to come back. We came back. He wasn't there. What do you think of that?
I don't know. We had grown up together, and like I had said, he's like quite a different character. So I don't understand his ways really, and I don't know. I don't think he wants to really talk. He says he wants to come clean, but yet we're here trying to ask him, and he doesn't want to. So we can go back and try him again. Is this yours or is this Arlie's? Here, I'll shut your door for you. Oh, you got it? Oh, they got one spark. Yeah, it would have been just...
Hey, guys. Hey. Hey, Jason. Thank you so much for chatting with us.
Get over here.
Are Odelia and Narissa innocent?
I can pretty say much so, yeah. Yeah, very much so, yeah. When I went to court that time, the judge didn't say anything or listened to what I had to say. He just heard my testimony and sent me on my way, and you were found guilty of it, you know? First few times I didn't say anything. I lied. I said I wasn't there and stuff like that, you know? The second time I said I was there, but I left before everything happened. And the third time I said I fessed up to what I did. Because as a kid, you're scared and stuff like that. You're worried and what's going to happen. And
Do you think they should be free?
yeah, I think so. I know so, you know, coming from me.
Do you have anything to say that would help set them free?
I'm not too sure that I did everything. I don't know what I can say, but I was the one that did it all. I stabbed him and beat him up. Because he was a fierce man. Put it that way, right? All right.
Thank you very much. All right. Very much. Thank you.
Yep. Once you get home, everything will go back.
Yeah. We'll be a family again. But I told him we misunderstood so much, girls.
You did, yeah.
And we always said, it's gonna come out. Yeah, boy, I love you. I love you so much. Thank you. I'll always love you. Okay. Totally.
As of November 2020, Narissa is at large. She escaped from the Edmonton Institution for Women in April 2020. Next week on a life sentence, Odelia is still incarcerated and anxious to reunite with her family and her partner who stuck with her through all of it.
After the verdict was read, a lot of the people in here were like, just couldn't believe it.
I grew up with my mom in the system, you know, going from healing lodges to correctional facilities and whatnot.
Odelia and Narissa's quest for innocence gets some high-profile help.
We're dealing with a system, a judicial system, Saskatchewan's judicial system. You know, out of all the provinces in Canada, is probably the one that is most racist.
I was absolutely mortified at what I was reading and what actually happened at this trial. And so I had decided to take this on pro bono and see what I could do within my power to help.
91% have histories of abuse that's reported, have histories where they have responded to violence, sometimes using violence themselves to defend or react to violence, that disproportionately gets characterized as more violent often even than men who commit the same or engage in the same behavior.
You put all the troubles together and you ultimately come down to what's to me is a pretty clear case of manslaughter and to me as well, obviously not a case of murder.